Punishment is probably one of the most intrusive things we do as a government to enforce laws and protect our communities. Essentially, we're taking away the rights and liberties of a person who is convicted of a crime. And we need to make sure that if we're doing that, we're doing it for the right reasons, that we're not committing acts of tyranny against our people. This was a big concern when we founded our government, and it's still a big concern today. So what we're going to talk about in this video is, why do we punish? And to get that question started, I want to introduce you to my daughter, Ariel Smith. Why do we punish people?
Because they're being so mean and stuff. Like, for example, if your mom punishes you, you are being really mean, so you have to punish them. And another example is because if you like get in trouble with the police officer and you have to be punished, it's because you did something very, very, very wrong, and you do not do that stuff. So that's why we punish people.
Thank you, Ariel. I think she has a really good point. One of the foundational principles of punishment is the idea of retribution. You did something bad, and now you deserve to be punished for it. It's the old eye for an eye mentality, and it's really drove correctional and criminal justice practices for thousands of years. Here more recently, we've come up with some other reasons, though, why it might be effective and a good practice to punish people who commit crimes and violent actions. Another one besides just retribution would be deterrence. Deterrence simply means that I am preventing you or someone else from committing a future crime by punishing you for the crime that you've already committed. Now, this has two different flavors. The first one is specific deterrence. That basically means that if you commit a crime and we punish you, you're less likely to commit that crime or another crime in the future because you don't want to be punished again. Second flavor of that is general deterrence. That's where other people see you get punished. So I see on TV someone get arrested for a crime. I see on CSI that they got all these great forensic techniques, and so I decide not to kill somebody. That would be general deterrence. The idea that you or someone else is less likely to commit a crime because we punished you. Another idea or philosophy behind punishment is the idea of incapacitation. According to incapacitation, we know, and we've known this for a long time, research has played this out a lot, and anybody that's worked in the criminal justice system will tell you the same. Judges, attorneys, police officers, correctional officers, they'll all tell you the same thing. You see the same people in this revolving door we call the criminal justice system. It's a very small percentage of the population that is responsible for committing the vast majority of crimes. So under the philosophy of incapacitation, if we take that small percentage of the population that's actually committing crimes and we lock those people up, they're not in our communities and they're not able to commit crimes in our communities again. It's just what it sounds like. It's basically saying we're going to warehouse you, and that way we're safe from the crimes you would commit because you're not in our community and you don't have access to our community to victimize it anymore. One of the newer philosophies that came out in the last 50 years or so is something called rehabilitation. The idea that, look, we're locking these people up, and we have to be honest with ourselves. Most people who enter the criminal justice system, who are found guilty of crimes, are going to one day be released back into our communities. Now, we can warehouse them for a while and release them later. It's really expensive. And what kind of person are we releasing back into the community if we've done nothing to make them a better person? If we just hold them in this cell for a while, forget about them, and then release them back into our community, what kind of person is coming back into our community? An angry person, a maybe more violent person, a person that's been exposed to victimization within the correctional system, all that kind of stuff. So we need to spend our time and our money targeting ways that we can effectively change the offender's behavior so that we don't have to pay for 20, 30-year sentences where we're paying medical bills, we're paying housing, we're paying guards to watch them, we're paying to feed them, and they're not paying any taxes or taking care of their families or any of their responsibilities. So rehabilitation is the idea that if we institute certain correctional programming, we can make meaningful changes in the offender's life so that they're less likely to go out there and commit a new crime. so that we can release them back in the community where they can raise their children, take care of their commitments, have a job, pay taxes, contribute to society, because we have rectified whatever it was causing them to commit crimes in the first place. Now, there is a relatively new philosophy on the horizon in the idea of what we should be doing through punishment. And this idea basically comes from the concept that when somebody commits a crime, society as a whole is harmed, of course. We all feel the complexities of that. We all get scared if there's a big crime spree in our community, or we know a neighbor got hurt, or it impacts us all. But who does it impact most, and most directly? The actual victim. And so there's a new philosophy that says, hey, you know what? We should be spending our time trying to figure out how we can make the victim whole. How we can undo the damage that was caused by this person's criminal actions. And so there's a whole lot of programs in restitution and community service and all those kinds of things that we can engage in to create avenues for the person who committed the crime to actually help heal the victim and heal that direct community. These are the universally accepted philosophies of punishment. These are important because if we punish without reason, if we punish just to get even, then we're engaging in behavior that can actually be counterproductive and cause more violence, and we've seen that play out throughout the ages. Plus, if we're a government built on democracy and built on the idea of individual rights, then we need to uphold those individual rights. And that means that even when a person is convicted of a crime, they're still a human being. And we need to be understanding why we are punishing them and what we're wanting to get from it. The third reason why this is important, and this is probably one of the most important, is the philosophy under which we punish determines how we're going to punish the offender. What's their punishment going to look like? If I believe that incapacitation is the way to go, the best we can do is take these people out of the community and lock them up in a warehouse, then I don't need to pay for correctional programming. I don't need to pay for educational programming. I don't need to pay for anything to help make this offender a better person. I just need to warehouse them. I need to feed them, keep them alive so that eventually we can release them back in the public. If I believe in deterrence, then we just need to mark up the punishment so that they're significant enough that other people will see the punishments that they're getting, and they will feel the power of the punishments they're getting, and they will, and other people who see them, will not want to engage in that behavior again. Key to that, though, is we have to do a strong mathematical formula where we figure out exactly how much punishment that takes. What does that look like? Because as we know, if we go above that and we get too punitive in our measures, people tend to revolt. They tend to feel like they don't have a chance. They tend to feel like the society's against them, and it actually makes things worse. If we believe rehabilitation is our key goal, then we're going to focus on keeping the offender in the community through probation, parole, things like that as much as possible, drug court, all those kinds of programs. We're going to focus on getting connections with mental health providers and educational institutions and different types of treatment programs that can make this person's life better and hopefully make them able to sustain themselves without engaging in future criminal behavior. To see the error of their ways, as it might be. Or if we believe that the function should be to try to make this victim whole, then we need to focus on how can we create avenues for restitution to be paid. If this person's locked up in prison, it doesn't matter if he's court ordered to pay restitution to this victim or not. The victim's not going to see anything because where's he going to get money in prison? So for all these reasons, it's really important that we understand these philosophies. With that, that's all I really got for you. I'll see you next week. Have a great one.